thing. Okay, so welcome to Moxie Monday. I said last week that we kind of have a new rotation of topics that we're going to go over during Moxie Monday. Same time, same place every week, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time on Zoom. But it's going to be kind of sequential. So the first Monday of every month, we are going to have myself or one of our Moxies, one of you, host a call about their personal development. And you might be like, womp, womp, womp. I need some like real tactical training. Okay, cool. We got that too. But if your mind is not right, you're not going to grow. You will only grow as much as you're growing internally and mentally, emotionally. And so it's so important for me to teach you leadership lessons. And it's so important for me to lead by example and tell you, like, I'm actually diving into personal development. I'm actually like, I'm reading, I'm listening to audiobooks. I'm absorbing so much as I get content, I guess, that I need you to as well. I need us all to grow. You guys have heard the quote, the rising tide rises all the boats. As our team grows, as one of you grows in your business or income or rank or, whatever your goals are, all of us are going to be elevated. Like, as you grow personally, the entire team will grow and excel. So it is, I say vital without trying to be too cheesy and corny, because obviously it's a vital behavior. But personal development, unless you have experienced it for yourself, you will typically not make it a priority. But if you have read a book, listened to an audiobook on the go, maybe have like a podcast routine in the morning, whatever your personal development habits are, once you get the flow of that, you're going to crave it and you're going to need it. And you're going to realize that in order to get in the right mindset, to be motivated, to be completely, to grow in the way that you're going to handle customer service, to grow in the way that you're going to handle your customers, your coaches, your leadership, your posting. When you work with people, sometimes there's confrontation. Like, as a leader for somebody, you're joining on this call, like, how are you going to deal with people? And that all comes from personal development. I want you guys to be in the right mindset. So today, I'm going to kick things off. The first Monday of every month, it's going to be about personal development. The second Monday of every month, we're focusing on, lighting is tripping me now. I'm like flashing back and forth. Okay, so I'm just going to be dark. I don't care. Second Monday of every month is going to be a team-wide power hour. The third Monday, we're going back to personal development, where one of you or me, one of us is going to lead a webinar, a call about what we're reading, what we're learning, and kind of have like just teaching you what we learned. Like, I just think it's so, so valuable, and even recommending you to read certain books or listen to certain audiobooks. Fourth Monday of every month, which is the fun one, is a team-wide open coach webinar. So that is a tool for you to know it'll be reliable. It's reliable. At the fourth Monday of every month, myself or you, somebody will be hosting a coach webinar. What is coaching event? It might be a webinar like this. It might be, I say webinar, it might be a Zoom like this. It might be more of like a YouTube live. It might be an event on Facebook, but we'll have a coach event every fourth Monday. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen because PD has changed everything for me. I have 12 books already picked out, but may change and incorporate our team PD. I love it. PD is my jam. PD is like cool lingo for personal development. Yeah, I would say that too. On book 6 or 7, Danny, that's amazing. Chelsea, mindset is everything. Y'all, I love you. Because the leaders on this team, Laura, Danielle, Susie, Danny, Chelsea, you guys are telling me, personal development is a priority to me. You guys can see these names on the leaderboards. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a coincidence that the leaders on Moxie are excelling because they are growing. And I can give you recommendations for books, and that's what these meetings are for. But I'm going to talk to you guys about what I just finished reading, which took me 2 months to read because, it's hard to read. Reading is hard. But I got through it, and I'm excited, and I prepared some slides. Like, it's nothing fancy. So if I ever ask you to lead a call on personal development, do not be intimidated. Don't panic. You can just write a couple of bullet points on a piece of paper and teach us what you're learning and what you got out of it. I did make a visual because I'm a visual person. So here we go. I'm going to tell you guys all about CULTIVATE. What does it mean to cultivate the areas of your life that you want to grow. Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Perfect. Okay, I see some thumbs up. So specifically, the part that stuck out to me is the last chapter, which we're going to get to, but it's talking about how important it is to have community over comparison, because what could suffocate us is comparison. And if we're going to start this entire Moxie Monday with the analogy of cultivating, you probably got the hint that it's about like cultivating, like growing gardens, growing things. Like you cultivate a garden. I really didn't know what that word was until I read this book. But you till the ground, or you pick out the land. You pick out where you want to grow something. You prepare the soil, and then you plant the seed. And then you water the seed. You let the sun water the seeds. It takes time, and then eventually it blossoms. Okay, so the process of cultivating a garden, let's just say garden, like cultivating a plant, a flower, a vegetable, a tomato plant, whatever. A garden is it takes time to cultivate, and it takes you being very intentional to help that little bitty seed blossom into something big. Just like what I'm going to use to bring that analogy into our life, into our business. So the book Cultivate is from an author called Laura Casey. It is a faith-based book, but what I'm sharing with you guys now is not like faith based. It's just content for leadership. So don't let that intimidate you if that's not your thing. But what does cultivate mean? It means to nurture, to nourish, to prepare, to improve, to encourage, to refine, to pay attention to foster growth. You pay attention to it. You nurture something to the point where it will grow. So there's 3 sections of this book that I really liked. It was the first third was preparing your garden. The second third was digging in and doing things with your garden. The last part was savoring the fruit and the vegetables and the harvest that you worked so hard for. But there's a lot of different lies that I think we can even call them weeds. So if our business is a garden, if our life is a garden, if we have a specific plant that we want to grow in our business, meaning like a goal, right? If we all want to hit Success Club 5 or more, if we all want to, advance in rank because we want to maximize our income potential, if we want to help our customers really get excited in our challenge groups, whatever it is, that thing that you want to grow, there are weeds, like life things that happen. There's mental obstacles that you have to overcome. There are lies that we have to overcome in order to cultivate the right things, in order to have an intentional life, for you to be free from pressure, for you to feel free from the stress and anxiety of that, really free from yourself, because we can be our own weeds. Like we can suffocate ourselves because we neglect tending to the garden, when we don't water it, when we put it in a corner and we don't let the sun shine on it to grow it. You know what I mean? So a lie is that you think you have to do it all, or that you want it all right now. That is a complete lie. And something that I know what that feels like, because I do want it all. And I want to have it all right now, because we live in this instant society, right? We live in this society where we want it now. We need immediate gratification. I didn't hit my goal last month, and I talked to 3 people yesterday and nobody's responded to me, blah, blah, blah. And you get discouraged. But you have to understand you can't do it all and do it well. So what we need to do, let's just carve out the month of February. What you could do this month to cultivate an intentional life, an intentional goal for your business, is to pick 1 or 2 things to improve on. Okay, I get it. I'm somebody who I'm like, oh, I need to figure out I need to figure out Instagram. Okay, I need to figure out Instagram stories. I need to figure out my blog. Oh my gosh, she's doing this, and I need to. Oh, okay, she's starting to post this way, and I need to figure out how to do this movie app video editing thing that she is, and oh, what is this new app, Hype that everyone's talking about? And oh my gosh, I can't believe she's already hosting a sneak peek for coaching by herself. Maybe I should do that too. And all of a sudden you have this giant pile of projects that you're trying to work on. And those are all exciting things, but it's suffocating you because you're not cultivating 1 plant at a time. And if you try to go into a garden and pour out literally, this is just the nature of growing a garden. If you just go out to a garden and dump seeds onto the soil and you're like, all right, grow babies, grow. Yeah, it's not going to happen. What you have to do is you have to pick out a section of each garden. You have to label it. You have to section it out. You have to cultivate that soil, plant it, nurture it, another section, nurture it, another section, nurture it. So just like your business, you have to do a couple of things at a time and not try to do it all right now. That's why I encourage you guys to pick maybe 1 or 2 things to improve on every month. Now, your basics, your foundation should happen daily. Like when you're cultivating your business, when you're cultivating a garden, when you're trying to make it grow, yes, you should show up to check on it every day. Yes, you should post every day. Yes, you should, be an example and serve your customers by showing up to your challenge groups every day. But you don't necessarily have to create 14 new projects or 28 new graphic templates every single day or month like everyone else is doing. You just focus on you. So pick a couple of things that you want to grow. You know that phrase, it's gonna grow like where you water, it's gonna grow. That's the whole point of this book. Okay. So I tend to think I can handle a lot more than I actually can. This is one of my favorite quotes from this book because I was like, yeah, dang, that's me. Because I'm not Superwoman. I'm a mom of 3, and I prioritize my family over everything in my life, including you guys, because that's what I want you to do. Your family is number 1. Your relationship with your significant other is number 1. Your relationship with, if you're a faith-based person, like that's number 1. I want you guys to honor your priorities, but still take your business seriously, because this is a gift that we have. And this is truly, for me, I feel like it's an obligation that I have to build this business to help my family, to serve my family. So I want to cultivate my relationship with my family and my business. They're not opposites. They all can blend together. But when I think that I could do more than I have time for, that's where I get frazzled. That's where I get suffocated. So a garden cannot grow if it's an overcrowded place. If you try to plant tomatoes, kale, peppers, green beans, a watermelon, and a pumpkin all in like a 2x2 square foot little raised garden with the wooden frames around it, that it's not going to happen. It's going to choke out itself. It's going to be choked out by weeds. They'll fight for water, just like your projects, just like if you try to spin too many wheels by serving at this place, having 17 jobs, trying to say yes to everyone in your neighborhood who needs a help, and being the classroom mom and being the chauffeur and babysitting and going out with all of your girlfriends and going on vacation. And oh, by the way, I really want to grow this little business over here. You're not cultivating your business if maybe you're saying yes to every single thing over here, but you have to decide, what do you want to say yes to this month, this year? What do you want to cultivate? Because you can't cultivate everything. If you only want to cultivate, let's say, something that you're doing with your corporate job, cool, do that. But I don't want you guys to have false expectations and think that you can grow your business if you're giving it your leftovers. If you're like, oh, cool, like I have all my other hobbies, I have all my other life, I have everything else going over here, nothing has ever changed. I've signed up as a coach and I didn't rearrange my schedule, I didn't change my lifestyle, I didn't make it a priority, but I really hope it grows. No, your garden's not going to grow unless you cultivate it. So keep choosing what you want to focus on. It doesn't matter if it's unconventional, as long as you're growing good things. Like you could build your business face-to-face. You could build your business by being a trainer and, leading workouts. You can build your business by Facebook, through Instagram, through social media, through email, through blogs. Do it however you want, really. All right. Next, if your garden dies, this is one of my favorite quotes from the book. Make sure I'm not ahead of myself. If your garden dies, your soil remains. So nourish your soil. What does this mean? It means that a lot of you guys were wrapping up this group called Comeback Kid, and it was really fun for me. And this is a huge foundation, cornerstone that I want those of you who were in Comeback Kid to understand. Or even as you're listening to this, you're a new coach, that your business, there's always a foundation, and that's the soil. Just like as you grow your garden, the soil is the most important part. That's where the nutrients lie. That's where, you need to make sure there's not a lot of rocks in there. You need to make sure that you pull the weeds out. And if you're not nourishing your soil and putting the right nutrients in there, feeding yourself, your garden will die, but you could still make sure the soil will always remain. So if you feel like, well, I had this team and all my coaches, kind of stepped away, and now I have to start over. I'm so discouraged. I'm so exhausted. And then I had this challenge group, and all my challengers, something happened, and their mom got sick, and so-and-so's daughter, this happened. So now I'm left alone again, and my garden died, per se. And I would tell you, your garden didn't die because there's still the soil there. And if you're nourishing your soil, if you're nourishing yourself and still growing yourself, it is going to be so ripe and primed to build a new garden, to grow a new garden. But if you deplete the soil, if you neglect your soil, if you never take care of yourself, your soil will be dried out. There's going to be rocks that fall in there. There's going to be weeds that grow up. And so by the time your garden dies, your soil will be so damaged that it's going to be so hard for you to get back to the square one. So I'm telling you this, no matter what happens in your life, nourish your soil, nourish yourself. Make sure that you are in a good emotional, physical, mental state, no matter what, because you can always step back up. You can always replant your garden as long as your soil there is continuing to be full of nourishment. Does that make sense? Taking care of yourself is the most important thing you can do in this business. Serving people is obviously the key, but you yourself, you got to take care of yourself. When you're an entrepreneur, you're going to fall out and think, what the crap happened? It's because you have to nourish your soil. All right, so the second section of the book, cultivating. Wait, this is the same. Here we go. Okay. So is digging in. So if you're going to be digging into your garden, you have to tend to it. So the author here was talking about if it matters to you, you're going to tend it. And I thought, okay, that's definitely understandable with my business. I had to make like a narrow list of what I want to tend to every single day. What matters the most to me? What could kind of like go from excellent to good and I still be okay, but like where do I need to go on a scale from terrible to decent to good to great? Because, there's a big difference between good and great. If you have that scale, what do you need to be great? What matters most? Okay. Is it taking yourself? Is it your physical results? Is it Shakeology? What matters most? What do you need to tend to the most? What things could sway from this is great to good and this was great and it's kind of bad and I'm sloppy about this and I need to get back to it. Personally, I noticed that my challenge groups went from great to decent and then good to bad. My workouts went from good to non-existent. So you have to understand and make a narrow list of what has to be tended every single day, every week in order for my garden to grow. And even if in your mind you think it's slow growth, that might just mean you're growing really deep roots. And so you're going to blossom soon. I promise you consistency pays off. You have to think of it as if you're cultivating, if you're planting the seeds, if you're watering the seeds, if you're showing up and trusting the process, the sunshine to come down and help those seeds grow. And we're talking about leads and people and your business growth. It doesn't necessarily mean that your business is not growing. It just means right now you are cultivating your soil so much so that the roots are so deep that all of a sudden your garden is just going to blossom and blow up. I've seen that firsthand on so many coaches. I've seen that firsthand on so many of your teams. You showed up and you worked and you worked and you worked and you were like, cool, okay, I'm pumping the well. I'm showing up. And we had these conversations. You're like, Laura, I believe in the process. I'm just kind of exhausted. I'm kind of discouraged and this happened and this happened and this happened, but I'm going to keep going. And you show up and all of a sudden, boom. All of a sudden, you wake up one day and your inbox is full. You wake up one day and you have this new plant blossom. And you're like, that was delicious kale, I had to say. And you're like, look at this little bee over here pollinating all my garden. And it's so funny, the analogies between gardening and business. But it's not slow growth. It's intentional growth. Be intentional with where you spend your time and your garden will grow. This is a concept of making sure we're savoring the fruit that comes from cultivating a garden. Let me check chat box. I see you guys messaging that I'm not forgetting anything. You're talking about me. Yeah. You don't like kale. I love kale. I'm just making sure I'm not forgetting anything. Okay, cool. So if you are going to be cultivating garden, being intentional and tending to certain areas of your business, no matter what, to make them non-negotiable, I want you to make room for the fruit. So again, understanding that a lie could be that we talked about you wanting it all, you wanting it all right now, but we have to understand that a lie is that you think, I want it all because I will only be happy when I have it all. But the truth is that you will be happy and content when you're grateful. When you're grateful and you're living in the moment and you're understanding the joy that can come out of this business, that you understand the joy that's going to come out of that personal growth. You're going to understand the joy that comes out of actually serving people and not just focusing on the numbers per se. They will go hand in hand. We recognize the numbers. We recognize the people. We recognize your personal growth. But I want you to live grateful instead of pressuring yourself and saying, I will only be happy when I have it all. When I've reached the top. You will only be satisfied now and later when you're living in the present. When you have your eyes and your vision set and you know where you're working towards, but living and be grateful now and still be present with your family, still don't neglect the things that mean the most to you, because when you get to the top, it's lonely if you've neglected everything that's important to you. So be a well-rounded leader and honor that. So I love the way that she worded it. She said, unrush your life, unrush your pace to make room for the meaningful things like, cultivating what matters, what's intentional. I'm thinking about my business specifically. I have a list of no matter what's in my business. I'm going to clear my inbox in both my Facebook and my Instagram. I'm going to post at least one time in both of those things. I have 4 different, no, I think it's 3. I have a list right here. I have a list of different groups of people that I want to serve, excellently. I don't want to get sloppy. I don't want to let them down. I'm going to show you guys. Hold on. I have it somewhere. I wrote it down. Maybe it's in my other book. I have it's really ridiculous how many notebooks I have to track things. Blasted. Where are you? It's somewhere. I'm going to find it. So the people that I have on my list I want to unrush my pace, and I want to serve, I think it's 3 groups of people well and excellent. And if everything else falls apart, if I can go to bed at night saying I honor my priorities and my word is valid, okay, whatever, I can't find it. But it's first and foremost my family. Second is the team. And third is my customers. I want to constantly have a gut check and say, am I doing what I told them I would do? Am I honoring my priorities? Am I showing up where I told them I would show up? Or am I getting sloppy? Or am I cutting corners? Or did I just throw up a lot of hype and then it's like I overpromise and underdeliver? So we have to do a gut check and say, are those things meaningful? Am I reliable? Can my people trust me? So 3 groups of people. Or I guess is it 3 or 4? I don't know. I'm miscounting. My family, my team, my customers. Done. 3. Okay. But anyways, ways to cultivate other meaningful areas in my life. I want to date my spouse. I want to have one time with my kids without getting annoyed because I do. So I'm like, I'm going to spend time with my kids today. And I'm like, oh, they're so awesome and so cute. And then I fight and then I yell, or then they throw something in the pool they're not supposed to. And I have to get it. So it's ridiculous. I have to make sure I'm nurturing those sweet, 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 tender relationships without being like, I'm going to either rip my hair out or whoop them to death, right? Whatever, I'm being honest. It's hard. Momming is hard. So, and I want to go above and beyond for my people, you guys, my customers. I want to think creatively, still keep things simple, but go the extra mile to wow people. Another area where we can savor things is be refreshing to people, and whatever that looks like. So I love this verse here in Proverbs. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. And I just think I want to be refreshing to people. I want you want to be that breath of fresh air. You want to be that genuine spirit. You want to be that kind-hearted person. You want to be that real person. Right now on social media, everyone's in network marketing. Everyone's in MLMs. But you want to be that person who's oh my gosh, you're so different, and I really can tell you care. You want to be that. You want to have that reputation. You want to be refreshing to people. I just think that's amazing. When you're talking about garden, you're going to cultivate and nurture and pay attention to the things you want to grow and to prosper. So this last part here, flourishing with others. You want to enjoy the fruit that you plant. You want to be able to enjoy the success that you have and that you've created for your family, for the team, for your business. So a lie is that you think you can do it all yourself, myself included. Like I say, you collectively, I'm in that. But a lie is we think we can do it all ourselves. I will say we are all independent Team Beachbody coaches. Yes, we are all working from behind a screen, from our house, in our magical lives. So it is very easy to just be on our own. I'm very independent. Like I've never had an upline coach until last month. And so it's very easy for me to be extremely independent and say, well, I'm not checking in, or, I'm not showing up on this team call, or I'm fine without this extra PDF recommendation, and I'm fine without a corporate mentor call, because I've, in my mind, just thought I'm just doing this all on my own. But it's been a lot more fun running with the team and getting ideas with the team. And so I love the meaningful relationships that come from Moxie. I love the meaningful relationships that comes from Dynasty United. And so as a team, as Moxie, going back to the idea of community, I want to make sure that we choose community over comparison, and we don't look across our fence to somebody else's garden and say, but she's planting things differently than I am, and she spends more time, she has more time than I do, and for some reason her soil and the way that the sunlight hits her garden is so much better than mine, and my garden's not growing as fast as hers, and it looks different. We're not trying to say the grass is greener on the other side. Comparison is dangerous. Comparison is weeds. Comparison is like, poison and toxic to our gardens. If you think about it, we need other people, because this is so cheesy and I love it. In a garden to grow, you need bees to go from garden to garden, flower to flower, to pollinate. So we have to collaborate sometimes and get ideas from other people. We have to maybe be inspired by another coach, but not copy and paste their content, but just use their content as inspiration to create our own story. In the ground, like who knows the talents and skills somebody's going to have behind the scenes in creating the spreadsheets and like the skills that people have. I think about bees being like the extroverts. I think about worms being like the behind the scenes people, like tilling the soil. It's needed. Like this, the whole part of the garden, everybody is needed in the specific strength and skill you have. Or birds, like birds are going to fly around and they're going to spread seeds. Like we need people. We need to collaborate in order to grow a really solid, delicious, ginormous garden. And these are some ways that we might compare ourselves, and it kills community. Comparison kills community, because it makes us competitors, and I'm not a competitor with you. I'm your peer, and I'm hoping that I'm your friend, and I love you guys, but I hope that we also love each other. But if you've ever said to yourself one of these things, I don't have what she has, I don't have it all together, I don't look like her, I'm not as organized, I'm not as talented, I'm not Superwoman, how does she do it all? She's already doing my idea, I'm not as important. She has energy and I don't, or she has more energy than I do, and I'm not thin, fit, or confident. Her finances are more in order, and her spouse is more supportive, and I'm just not outgoing. If you've ever told yourself these lies, maybe it's not directed specifically at somebody within Moxie, but if you're telling yourself these lies, you're already smothering your potential to be a part of a community because of comparison. And you're already putting yourself on the fringe and saying, well, I'm not good enough, so I'm not welcome into that family. Guys, you are absolutely welcome, because we need you. Remember the silly analogy here? Like, we need bees to pollinate. We need worms to till the soil. We need birds to spread seeds. We need everybody on Moxie to show up daily for their business and for their dreams, because as a team, like, we're cultivating things together. So remember this, if we're going to be working as a community, and if you want to be a part of a community, the second that you are paralyzed with comparison or discouragement, remember the lie. Community is better than comparison. You don't have to compare. You don't have to feel discouraged. This is not a competition between peers. We love to celebrate top leaders. We love to celebrate people who are achieving big things, but it's because we want to use that as an opportunity to inspire, or to be proof that, hey, this is working for them and this is what you can duplicate. It's not to say, well, so-and-so's better than anyone else. No, it's just to give you an example of what's working, of this is possible, so you know it's possible for you too. So in closing, I want to encourage you guys. This is some call to action stuff. I want you to ask yourself, what do you want to cultivate? Now, it could be your 12-month goal, it could be a quarterly goal, or honestly, it could just be this month. In February, what do you want to see grow? And of course, you want your income to grow. Of course, you want your Success Club numbers to grow. Of course, you want your team to grow. But break it down a little bit more. What is it that you need to cultivate in order to make those things grow? So for me, if I'm like, okay, well, I really want to plant some broccoli in my backyard. I'm not just gonna be like, I really want to cultivate some broccoli. And I'm like, broccoli. No, what's gonna happen is I have to go out there, I have to go to the store, buy the whatever. I don't know how to grow broccoli, so that's a problem. But I have to find out how to grow broccoli. I have to put it in the ground. I have to water it. I have to till it. I have to figure it out. I have to figure out what it needs, and I have to do the work. I have to cultivate it. I have to do the work to grow the broccoli. I can't just focus on the rank, only focus on the income. I really want my income to grow. Well, what do you have to do to make the income grow? What do you have to do to lose the 10 pounds? That's it. That's the tending list. What do you have to tend to cultivate what you want? Okay? And what weeds are suffocating your garden? What weeds are in your life, in your mind right now that you need to pull out? What rocks are in your head, in your garden? What is sabotaging your growth? You need to get rid of them or your garden will not prosper. And last but not least is make sure that you're nourishing your soil, that you're taking care of you. And that's okay. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You gotta figure out, well, like, what hour of the day you just need to have me time. Do you need a journal? Do you need to rest? Do you take a bath? Do you need to have a glass of wine? Do you need to go have, a laugh until you cry party with your friends? But nourish yourself, and only you can define that because we all have different personalities. But make a list. What does it mean to nourish yourself? What kind of personal development are you doing this month? Make that a priority. Are you ever settling down, or do you need to make an unrush list? Do you need to write down all of your responsibilities and circle the top 5 and say no to the rest? Like, is your life too crowded? And are there areas of your life that you can say no to in order to make more room for this business to grow? Right? You can't just hope for it to grow. You have to cultivate this business. That's why you have to make room for the opportunity for things to prosper in your life. But that is Cultivate. That's the book that I just read, and I really loved it. I'm actually listening now to a book called The Best Yes, and I think I should be done with that by Thursday. And I have a book coming in that I'm reading with a couple of people called I think it's called Get Over Your Damn Self. Pardon my French if that's offensive. But anyways, it's called Get Over Your Darn Self, and it's going to be great. So I'm going to read that in the month of February. And so that is my plan to nourish my soil. I also have a morning routine, like the miracle morning, where I wake up kind of groggy because I have a newborn. Like, I kind of like walk around the house crazy, take my kids to school, come back. I have my hot tea. I have my breakfast, and on my phone, I read my Bible app, and I read a chapter of my book, and then I start my day. Like, I do not feel like Laura until I have that me time, until I nurture my soil in that morning routine. And so maybe practice that. Maybe develop a morning routine for yourself so you feel nourished when you start your day, in whatever capacity. Because I'm just like you. I do laundry. I do dishes. I have to figure out bills. Like, I got all that stuff going on too. But it's so important in your attitude in all areas of your life that you are nourishing yourself so you can honestly just be prepared for the day. My little girl is crying. I have to go get her, but let me check really quick. Any questions that you guys have? I'm going to scan the chat box really fast. I will take kale. You get my cilantro. I don't like cilantro either. It tastes like soap. It's like either you love it or you hate it. I feel like I'm always rushing. I have always felt like that too. I used to feel like I was always rushing. That's why my entire life right now is love fast, live slow. I just love to live slow, to be in the moment, to work hard, not be afraid of it, but be just at a calmer pace, Once she stopped rushing through life, she was amazed how much more life she had time for. Ooh, that's a good one. Blame the sunlight. That's funny. Excellent point. Let me see questions. I love to laugh until I cry. Sometimes I laugh until I pee because I've had 3 kids. Can we get an amen? Sometimes I sneeze and that happens too. It's just like, oh, so you never know. With the Mendenhall house. Okay. Well, you guys are awesome. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to sign off because I have a screaming baby. I will post this recording in Moxie, and I will see you guys in our team page, of course, but next week we are doing a team-wide power hour. And so if that's something that you would like to be a part of, which it should be because that's work. Anyways, just show up. I'll make sure the link is posted next Monday, but that's what our project is next week. Okay? Mwah. Bye, guys. Love ya.